More people. What'd you do to your foot, Erica? There you go. Hi, Uncle Matt. Chili. There's Molly.
These are my grandchildren. It's Erica and Stephen. This is Uncle Nat. It's a great-great-uncle. Okay, that's Grandpa's brother. Yeah, that's Grandpa's brother. Hi, Aunt Molly. It's fine.
Good.
Hello. Is that you? Fine. Tell me. Sorry.
Hello, Uncle Nat.
God bless you. Please, Jack. 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 Please. That's a call. Nice to see you. Jack.
Underneath these, like, you know where the photographer might be? The photographer?
There we go. Michelle. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Michelle.
There we go. That's it. Smile. Thank you.
Steven.
Steven, stand on your that moon is a crowd. Okay. Big smile. Look at me. Smile. There we go.
Guard, we have no control over that, but we thank you all for your patience in being here.
And we are honoring an individual whose name I shall not mention at this point. But with the pleasure and honor of that opportunity before us, Dad has requested, before we serve ourselves at the buffet behind you, and before we have a toast, that he would like to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. So, Dad, would you step up to the microphone?
Everybody stand up, please. Take your head off, put your right arm at your heart, and follow me. Be clear. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You tell him. Grandpa, put your hat back.
Please. Since this is a rather auspicious day, a very important day for my father and his children and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, I would like to offer a toast. The toast may seem somewhat strange to some of you that don't know me well, and I know my brother and sister have heard it before, but this will be a variation. So please bear with me. I will not say it in Spanish, but the toast essentially has 4 ingredients. I wish for you, Dad, health, money, and love, and the time to enjoy it. Now let us look at that marvelous toast. Health. Those of you that know Dad well know that he had a heart problem, but it was not heart disease. Dad had a heart injury. And a man that's 90 years old that takes care of himself every day very well, he does not have heart disease. Dad is really enjoying good health at age 90. So we're very pleased at that. Money. Money was always a problem. Very little in his young years. And he had to work very hard for pennies and nickels, etc., and dimes. Later on, he seems to have adequate money. In fact, he spends very little, somewhat of a mechanism of self-denial. He has very adequate money. Money is no problem. Love. Dad has enjoyed the love of his beloved wife, Millie, may she rest in peace. The love of his children, his grandchildren, and his great-grandchildren. And then many other relatives and friends, some of whom got out of a sickbed today to be here. And so he's been blessed with love. And the 4th ingredient, the time to enjoy it. Certainly at age 90, we would think he's had a bit of time to enjoy it. However, we'd like to wish you more time to enjoy it. Because that's what life is all about. Health, money, love, and the time to enjoy it. The expression to life represents that concept. And so, in the Jewish tradition, we always toast to life. And so, l'chaim. Now, the rest of the program will move along after we eat, so I'd all invite you to go up to the buffet, help yourself to the salad and the entrees, and then during the meal we may say a few things, trying to speed things up a bit. So at this point,
But I thought it was very nice of them to think about you.
Yeah, there you go.
Come up and read it. It's really interesting, and you'll learn all about the Spanish-American War. The date is September 21st, 1898. And the price of the New York Times was 3 cents.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
In case you're wondering how those $half got on your plate, Dad's famous for giving those and making them, and he wanted everyone to have one.
He was a commercial artist in his heyday, and he was concerned about this sign because his hand shook a little bit. And very frankly, I don't see any shake at all. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Maida Decker? She does, Steve? Tap your wife on her shoulder so she hears me. Maida? I wanted Maida to turn around because this is another birthday. Today happens to be Maida Decker's birthday, and we want to wish her happy birthday. Also, there was a question of having 2 flags on the podium. He said the only time he ever saw my dad get mad when they were going to have a second flag instead of the American flag. And he was very concerned about that and was very proud that Dad only wanted the American flag there. Thank you, Steve. Also, there is a person who's not here. She had to leave, and she's the manager of McDonald's. And for those of you who don't know the story, I may not tell it exactly right, but Mom and Dad, in their travels in Miami Beach, consistently went to McDonald's, I guess for a period of about 15 years. It was the same McDonald's, and they generally ordered the same thing over the years. Irene, who unfortunately had to leave, noted this, and noted that to the management of McDonald's. And a few years ago, before Mom died, we had a party in their honor there, and some of you were there. It was arranged by Irene. The TV tape, which is available, was taken by her to honor Dad and Mom for their perseverance, I guess. But they were very pleased that a couple would come to McDonald's all the time, and Dad still has a lifetime pass at McDonald's, and Rosie and I were there with lunch, for lunch with him yesterday. And they still honor him, and he goes there anytime he wants and has his fish fillet sandwich gratis. But speaking about the American flag, Dad showed me yesterday a couple of letters that he had received. If you remember, those of you who are very young don't remember, but we have Armistice Day, and they have a Buddy Poppy, which is still sold, and it's to honor the World War veterans, World War I veterans, and they were called Buddies. And that's where that name came. When you were in the trenches of World War I, you needed a buddy to help you, and that name stuck to all World War I veterans. And this letter is written to Dear Buddy Small. The veterans of World War I of the United States of America Incorporated wish to extend to you, Buddy Small, a most happy celebration on this occasion of your 90th birthday. Your love of country and pride in participating in its defense is an inspiration to all who know you. Your life is an eloquent reflection of the basic lessons of patriotism and the ability to look through problems and difficulties into the magnificence of this great republic and find the reasons that inspire even the weakest man to charge the hill. It is gratifying to know that you have an instilled spirit of pride, courtesy, compassion, and love that all may be some of the ingredients to a long and fruitful life. We extend a right-hand salute to you, Buddy Small. This day is yours. Sincerely in buddyship, Don R. Fears, National Commander of the Veteran of Foreign Wars. ago, when the Goldberg family traveled to Israel, we had a wonderful time. And my wife Rosalie's sister Trudy participated in that, and obviously is part of my family and became, if you would, part of the Goldberg family. And traveled with Dad and got to know him very well. And was very sorry that she couldn't be here with us. She lives in Norfolk and couldn't happen to make it this weekend. But in preparation for it, she wrote to an individual in Washington, D.C. And unbeknownst to her, my niece Sherry also did the same thing. And both of them, because of both of them, I have this note.
Good job. Why? Because the money goes for what it costs. The money goes for poor families, Christmas baskets, scholarship, and for the veterans in the hospital. That's why we've been doing that, me and Jack, for many, many years. And God bless you, Jack. Keep on, Jack, for many more years. You and your whole family. Thank you, and thank everybody.
Dad's going to blow out the candles.
One minute. Steven, tell Michael? Oh, we better leave Michael with us. He's quiet. Yeah, Michael is quiet.
They covered all that I wanted to talk about. In 1917, as you heard my son say that I was working, I got $5 a week, $5, cleaning glasses. I think it was on 14th Street or 23rd Street. The music was very, very strong. It was an army music. So one day I made up my mind to run away from home, to join the army. I got into the office of the Merchant Marines. They looked at me. He says, "You better go back and go on a minute." They gave me an address where to go. So I went down and not too far away, and I got in line. I asked the fellow in front of me, volunteers, all volunteers, and I asked him, "Where are you going to join?" The fellow says, "Infantry." I turned my back to the back of me. I asked him, "Where are you going to join?" He says, "Infantry." So when my time came to us to sign up, I said, "Infantry," which I did. Well, they shipped me Force Local. It's right near North Shell Towers. There you get your uniform, your shoes, hobnail shoes, dress shoes, home whenever it's necessary. And in a couple of weeks, they shipped me to Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. There we trained for about 6 months, hiking 10 miles at a time with a pack on our back. Well, we got into the front. We didn't know where we were. I was in charge of the last post of the 7th Division, 34th Infantry. The next came the 28th Division. 28th Division. And after a short time, the war ended, and we were told to pick up anything on the floor, on the ground. And I was lucky. I picked up something that stuck into the ground. I picked up off the roof, top paper, stuck right in the ground. And I seen it was a bomb, 6 feet. And I happened to make a remark as we were going along. I said, there was a bomb on the ground. And the report came to at that time there was Stars and Stripes. Was the American paper, the U.S. American paper. And it was advertised in the paper that the newspaper advertised that the war didn't end. There would be 1 million men shot
The Germans would blow up 1 million men.
The bombs start for miles, and we didn't know anything about it. But anyhow, I was lucky. The war ended, and it was advertised in the paper. I tried to get my son to try to find out what date it was. He's still working on it. So I was walking, and all of a sudden, after the war stopped, there was 3 officers came in, about 6 o'clock in the morning. A captain, first lieutenant, and a lieutenant. And naturally, you respect your officers, so I saluted him. And the captain went away and started bawling me up. Why I saluted? He talked so fast I can't remember what he talked about. So finally we got into in the city address.
You lost your stripes then?
Well, you know, the officer took my stripes away because I saluted him. I saluted him. He took my stripes off, and he changed me from Company K to Company G. Company G.
Yeah, for those people that don't know, in wartime in battle, you're never supposed to salute an officer.
Well, I didn't know.
Right.
I have to
Some people don't know out here either because they've never been in
I
combat.
did respect.
Identifies an officer, and then the enemy can shoot him, and that's a big deal. But that was the big deal.
Well, I saluted him, and I didn't realize I shouldn't have done it. So he took my socks off, and he changed me to Company G. And that's why my son is trying to get me straightened out.
Trying to get the straight out.
Well, it's a job. It's really going to the front, you know. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know we were going to Luxembourg. We were going on train. They supplied the soldiers there. And I appreciate that you people came up here. I appreciate it very much. It's very enjoyable, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, I hope my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, and I'm happy to be alive to see the happiness that our family is together now. And it's really enjoyable to see you all together, and I'm very happy. Thank you very much for coming.
What we're planning on doing now is to have an open mic. Aunt Molly wants to say something. I know Dale has something to say, and a few others.
He never fails to help me at any time I need him. 13 years ago, I sold my home on North Bay Road, and I bought a condominium in the Royal Atlantic. I was called before the screening committee and went right to the desk, people sitting around the room, and was asked various questions, as you all have been when you buy a condominium, what your bank account is, etc., etc. And from the back of the room on the board of directors, a gentleman said, "This is our past commander. I vouch for him. He is okay." Well, needless to say, Jack Small endorsed my purchase of that condominium. And there again, he has been a friend, a neighbor, a comrade over all these 35 years. And as commander of Miami Beach Post, I salute you, Jack. From all your officers and members, we wish you, and congratulate you and wish you well. Many, many more years of happiness and health. Thank you.
Very nice.
Uncle Jack, what post is that? What number?
35.
35.
Folks, I want to tell you something that's very important. Some years ago, my granddaughter married a gentleman. He tried to get into the Miami University.
University of Florida and Gainesville.
There it is, my granddaughter.
I know this story. This is a good one.
Go ahead,
You
Dale.
want to tell it?
Go ahead.
Want me to tell it? Oh, it sounds better.
Go ahead, Dale. She's going to say something.
Let's see. Oh, this is a long time
That's
ago.
right, that's
but
my
not too long.
granddaughter.
Yes, I'm Dale. I'm Jack Small's oldest granddaughter. I'm happy to say that. And let's see, the story goes, so Jay tried to get into medical school. He couldn't. It took him 3 years to get in. And my grandmother wrote to the commander of the Veteran of Foreign Wars, and
Charlie Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, right? Lamborghini, who's with us today, to ask him to write a letter for Jay, who's taking a picture of me now, and wrote as his grandson to get into medical school. And it was wonderful. It was one of the nicest letters I've ever seen in my life, and it was really wonderful. And my grandfather is pleased to say that he had a lot to do with Jay getting into medical school. So that's.
So, the only this. The commander of our post at the time, what was the Lamborghini? Where is he?
He's right here.
Right here, Jack.
There he is.
There he is, right here.
There he is.
That's Commander Lamborghini.
Lamborghini. So we're very grateful to the commander for helping Jay get into medical school.
He's a past commander of our post, and he's really a jumper. And he wrote a letter to
throughout the years, and I'm certainly honored, and my wife and I are extremely pleased to have been thought of and invited to this beautiful affair.
Thank you.
And I hope there's many more healthy and happy ones in Jack and his family and everyone here today.
Thank you.
And I thank you. And good luck. Gail.
The train ride back from New York to Rochester about a month ago. And on that train, Erica was writing a poem to Jay for his birthday. And I had this idea about writing a poem for Grandpa. So I wrote this poem on the train. But I'm not the first person in this family to write a poem on a train. My grandmother and grandfather wrote a poem to his grandchildren, which would be 35 years ago, because I was the first grandchild. And so this poem is dedicated to my grandmother, who's with us today in spirit, and to my cousins, first generation, second generation. Well, it starts with me, and then it goes down to Gail and Jody, and and Ben's kids, Philip and Stephen, and they're all my cousins too, and Muriel's kids and everybody, because